Welcome to a zero judgment zone, my little nerds, because today we are not going to be shaming anyone in this video or in the comment section for choosing plastic surgery or not. Aging beautifully is not about holding on, but aging beautifully is about shining through and what that means for you. And I myself, I'm a dermatologist, and I might one day too get a facelift. Hello everyone, welcome back to Pillow Talk Derm, where I'm Dr. Shireen Idriss, a board certified dermatologist, and we do this thing every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. in order to talk about science and skincare, but most importantly, how to boost your self-confidence to empower you so you can live the best life over the next decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades, the rest of your life in the skin you're in. Because last I checked, we are stuck with that skin forever. Before we dive in, it's really important that you understand that this is a zero judgment zone. My grandmother said it best. Would you rather wear a wrinkled shirt every day or a ironed shirt every day? She chose to wear an ironed shirt every day and have surgery. So if you're thinking about surgery, or if your team just skincare and you don't care about the quality of your shirt or whether or not it's ironed, this is about empowerment today, not perfection. And I also want to quickly thank you all for the comments on last week's video, not just for me, but most importantly for each other, the words of encouragement that you guys shared with one another, and also your stories. That is why I started this community, so that we can grow more confident and better together. And hopefully we're going to incorporate more of those types of videos moving forward. So beauty, right? It's not about freezing time. It is about owning your journey and feeling confident every single step of the way. So today I want to talk about how to keep your facelift if you've had one looking fresh, but more importantly, where, when, how, why, and do we even start? Because that is the question of the day. I saw a video of a 28-year-old getting a facelift and I nearly lost my SHIT. So when is the right time for plastic surgery? Surgery is often a very personal decision, but motivation and timing are absolutely everything. Knowing why you're getting it and when you're getting it can change the course of who you are and how you age, because you only get one face. So you need to choose that time and that provider very, very carefully, especially a provider who's thinking about your face, not just today in the before and after, but in the future and in the later. Because a great surgeon is going to tell you no when you are not ready. Like a dermatologist will hopefully tell you no, you don't need that resurfacing laser, or you do not need that filler. You need to know or hear the no's more than you hear the yeses. And you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Am I doing this to look like a different person, which is your prerogative? Or am I doing this to maintain my natural beauty? Am I emotionally and physically ready for the maintenance that's to come? But not just the maintenance, the emotional and psychological impact of what's to come, because plastic surgery does take an emotional toll, and that is not spoken about enough. It can be either really negative or really positive, but it has to be taken into consideration before you go under the knife. And maintenance is an inevitable. You're not going to get a facelift like you buy a Bentley and park it and pray. You need to maintain what you are putting into it, because aging is going to continuously happen. Surgery is not about embalming yourself. You're not embalming yourself forever. It's about enhancements. You're not escaping who you are. You're still in there. And it's not about preservation forever. So if you are interested in getting something done, where then do you start? Do we start with our face, our necks, our eyes? And my answer is always, always, always when I'm talking to my patient, we start with the eyes. The eyes are usually the area that is the first to show signs of aging because they're extremely expressive. The skin is delicate and it's a much finer area. And if we wait too long, we go from being a droopy, saggy mess to somebody who's drastically different. And that is not what I want. So the best time for you to do your eyes is really when you need it. When your eyelids start to change shape, when they start to get heavy and resting on your lashes, and when they start to affect your peripheral vision, usually in your early to mid 40s, honestly. And I also tell patients, we start small, okay? We do the area that's worst first. Maybe it's our upper lids, maybe it's our lower lids, but we don't do both at the same time. And in our 40s, we're usually healthy enough to be able to do this procedure twice. And I'll get to that in a second. Because you do the first area, you let it heal for like 6 months to a year, and then you see it's preserved the essence of who you are. You haven't changed your identity. And if you're still healthy and you're still good and you're still wanting and capable and able, then you do the second area a year or so later. The recovery for the eyes, unlike your face, is very quick and it's very easy and it's not as intense. So you could technically do that. So you're not changing everything all at once and walking out with pinched eyes and looking like a different human. And when it's done very thoughtfully, This will help you look like you, like a more rested version of you who finally got 8 hours of sleep, because a girl can dream. And I'm recording this video and it is currently 6 a.m. and I woke up at 5 a.m. to put on my face. So now that we have covered the eyes, what about our faces? When do we do our faces, our necks, our chests? When is it time for a facelift? At what age do I get my facelift? It's not about an age. It is about your skin quality, the volume in your face, and your bone structure, which is huge because your bone structure is what's holding your face. If you do it too early, you're gonna need more redos in your life, because each time you do it, right, your face is gonna look slightly smaller, but you're gonna be aging around it and you're gonna need more. And if you do it too late, then your facial bone structure is already small, that laxity is already pretty drastic, and it's not gonna be as great of a result as you wanted to, plus it might be dramatically different. So a facelift usually lasts on average 7 to 10 years. But with very good maintenance, you can really push that to the high end of that range. And ideally, you want to push it to 10 years, maybe 10 years plus if you're really lucky. And therefore, you have to ask yourself, if I'm doing this at 35, do I want it at 45, 55, 65? Because after 70, I don't really promote facelifts because we do not metabolize anesthesia as well. And also because aging doesn't stop. But the way you manage it can evolve with you as you age. And you have to kind of be willing to twist and turn with that. And you're not stopping time with surgery. You're simply pressing pause with intention. That is all you're doing when you're getting a facelift. So what do you need to know about getting a facelift? I'm going to break it down very simplistically. You need to find a surgeon who is planning for your future you and not just your you today and for before and after. We do not want to get everything done all at once. I see this a lot when people go in under the knife and they want, oh my God, I'm going to do my brow lift, my ear tightening, my eyes, my neck, my nose, my upper lip. And they walk out looking like a different human and it looks scary. Planning how you want to age ahead of time can help you plan when you want to do certain procedures over time. And that is the key to aging well if this is what you want to do for yourself. And we do not want to look like different people. At least I do not want that. And therefore, that is never the message that I am going to be putting out. But how can you look like who you are and the best version of yourself when you've planned ahead? And number 3, a facelift does not replace skincare. It just resets your baseline. I hear this a lot. Oh, she has good skin because she had surgery, she had a facelift. That has nothing to do with it. It's just rewriting your structure. So you got to make sure that the overall outer part of your structure looks good. And the only way that looks good is by you caring for yourself, because skincare is the most important constant. And if you're not caring for yourself through skincare, it's not going to be like light switch after surgery, I'm going to start doing my skincare. And also, if you expect instant perfection with a facelift, you're going to be disappointed. Facelifts take time to heal. There are going to be roads and bumps in the road, and you're going to have to be okay with that. And rejuvenation is honestly a long journey. It is not a one-time event. The same way there's no miracle ingredient, magic bullet, there's no miracle procedure, there's no instant gratification when it comes to surgery, and that being your perfect goal, okay? Doesn't happen. And the goal last is very simple. You want to look like you, refreshed and vibrant, and that makes you feel more confident, like the best version of yourself on the best vacation of your life. That is the ultimate goal in my world when we're talking about getting a facelift and plastic surgery. So now, how do we maintain ourselves after the fact, once we've had the surgery? And by the way, the next part of this video can apply to anyone, even those of you who never want to get a facelift. And in order to talk about this next phase, I want to also quickly review the 5 buckets of aging, because when you understand how you age, it is easier to understand what you need to do to help yourselves and to take control over the years that are to come. So number 1, we have fine lines and wrinkles. Do we look worried, sad, angry, depressed, at rest? And this is where neuromodulators like Botox can help. Number 2, we have our volume. Everybody's volume is going to be shifting, sinking, and sagging. Even after a facelift, it doesn't mean that you're going to be perfectly poofy and poochy and poof forever. So fillers and biostimulatories can help, and we need to stop being scared of fillers, because fillers are just a tool. You need to be scared of the person using that tool who's created those terrible outcomes, okay? Or the person asking for the other person to use the tool and really being a bully about it, because some patients can be a little bit like this, and you're like, no, and it becomes like a weird dynamic. 3 is the color of your skin. And this is one that you can absolutely take control over, whether you have brown spots or redness, but the color of our skin ages us and we can look tight but still be dull. So we can have had our facelift, but our skin can look dull overall. So your skin tone makes a big difference. 4 is elasticity and texture. Because even though we do the facelift and we're getting rid of that excess skin and we are tighter, our collagen and elastin are getting broken down and our skin is thinning down as we get older. So that is going to continue to evolve. So we need to readdress it. And 5 is our bone structure. The bone structure is the foundation of your face. But as we get older, we melt, we resorb, we become wider, narrower, we start to recede, we start to look like a thumb. And that starts to happen actively, even as you're getting rolled out of the OR. So aging is both intrinsic, genetic, metabolic, and extrinsic, sun, stress, lifestyle. And you can't really control the extrinsic so much, or the intrinsic, but you can really control what you do in your habits. And that is very empowering because your daily choices, sleep, hydration, and most definitely sunscreen and sun protection are going to be your long-term treatments that are going to help you the best over time. They're not sexy, but they are going to help you the most. So what then does maintenance after a facelift actually look like? You've had your facelift, you spent thousands of dollars, and in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars, because I live in New York City. I know it's crazy, but it's the reality of things. And we're not going to buy that Bentley, park it and pray. We are going to actually do something about maintaining ourselves. Your first step and your constant is your skincare routine. A facelift lifts what has fallen and tightens that, but it doesn't fix your skin quality over time. And if you were dull before, you're going to be dull after, just a little bit tighter. So skincare for me is a non-negotiable. And you have to understand that surgery is just resetting the structure and skincare is maintaining the surface. And it's not about doing more, but it's about being smarter, more consistently, and showing up for yourself. So get into the habit prior to the surgery. And in the first 6 months post, that is what you're focusing on. Now, I also want to first tell you guys that you need to make sure that the first 6 months, you're really focusing on healing your skin. You don't want to be doing a lot of aggressive things. So retinols, maybe you want to hold off because your skin's going to be a little bit more sensitive. And sometimes people do get resurfacing lasers during the facelift. So make sure you understand what you have done and just focus on nourishing and creating a good skincare routine that is healthy for you in the first 6 months. After 6 months, in office, right, you can reintroduce Botox. And it's a myth to believe that you don't need it because you're now lifted. You don't need the Botox. But the reality is Botox helps to minimize you squinting again. That's going to pull that tissue down. So Botox is probably the first place that I start. I do not go into any lasers within 6 months to a year because I really want you to fully heal and reset. After 1 year, right, let's talk about volume. We're going to start losing volume. So PRP and PRF are good places to start that are going to help to regenerate your own tissue, especially if we know that you respond. That is not going to change the outcome of your surgery. After 1.5 years to 2 years, fillers come into play where we start to reposition the proportionality of your face. Because remember, your bone structure is actively changing. Additionally, microneedling can also be something that we start to incorporate to help with the overall texture and tone without being too aggressive. But after 2 years to 2.5 years, maybe 3 years, we can reintroduce Fraxel for gentle resurfacing. And we can even reintroduce a very light CO2 laser for areas that you know you're more prone to being crepey with. And at that point, after 3 years, we go back to reintroduce very sporadically and periodically tightening treatments. So we're reintroducing things with ultrasound energy or radio frequency every 2 years or so, starting at year 3. And we don't want to start that too early. And we have to remember that timing is key. And so there you have it. A facelift is something that can help reposition your features, but you can only keep them vibrant. They're not going to stay vibrant on their own. And like my grandmother said, do we want to wear a wrinkled shirt or an iron shirt? That decision is completely and solely up to you. And none of us are to judge that. But the real secret to longevity, whether you're getting a facelift or not, is consistency over intensity. Because we need to remember that aging beautifully is not about holding on forever, but it's about shining through every stage of life. Because you have earned every smile line, you have earned every laugh line, and you have earned every ounce of wisdom that has come with them. And it is up to you to decide how we want to continue to age and how we want to care for ourselves, to honor our journey and to embrace, honestly, the power of evolving gracefully. We have the tools at our disposal. It's just a matter of how and when and if we want to use them. And that's that. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you took away something from this. I hope it opened your perspective if you were completely from a different perspective. And if you have any questions, comments, or you want to share your story, please feel free to do so in the bottom. But if there's one key takeaway, it's wear the damn sunscreen. Starting early, it will help at least the quality of your skin as you age, whether you choose to have a facelift or not. And try to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. And remember that hopefully life is long and we get to choose how we want to show up at every stage of life. And I'll see you guys next Saturday. Have a beautiful weekend.